sound clip from our Bible study discussion every Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in Pakalani. Please enjoy.
Today, guys, I've titled it because, Dumba titles these things, so I decided to title it as well. And it's called, we're going to be talking about living in freedom and walking in the fruit of the Spirit. That's what I want us to talk about today. So we've been spending time in the book of Galatians with Dumba. We've also had some really important conversations around the first few chapters of Galatians. And last week we also had a very interesting discussion about salvation, which was kind of engaging, and I really enjoyed it. But today I want us to really zone in on what does a life that is truly led by God, and what does that actually look like for us as Christians. Because, it's one thing to talk about like being saved, like we talked about last week, but it's another thing to ask what difference does that make in how we live our everyday lives. So Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. Can someone read it for me, just the first chapter, and then the first verse, and then someone should open up verse 13 in the same chapter. Yeah, verse 13, and then verse 22 to 23 as well.
Galatians 5
yeah.
verse 1.
Yeah.
Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty by which Christ has made us free, and do not be entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
Yeah. So essentially, Paul, who wrote Galatians, is saying that it's for freedom that Christ has set us free, if I can just summarize that. So we are free, but then in verse 13, if someone can read that.
About verse 13. For you, brethren, have been called to liberty. Only do not use liberty as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another.
Perfect. So there's a contrast. We see something important. Our freedom as Christians is not about doing whatever we want. I think last week, rather, when we were talking about salvation, there's that argument that, if I'm saved, am I saved forever? And we came to the conclusion, I hope, because that, it's a continuous walk with the Lord. That's how salvation is at the end. We start, we proclaim that we're saved, and then we work towards that everlasting salvation. I hope that was the overriding message. I know others had a bit of a difference in that, but I'm not going to get into that. So let me just go back to my notes. So it's not about doing whatever you want. It's about being free from sin and free to live a new kind of life, a life led by the Spirit of God. And on one side, there's a life led by flesh, as we saw in verse 13, where everything is driven by our own desires, emotions, impulses. And on the other side, there's a life led by the Spirit. We'll get into that. And instead of just giving rules, I think we've all read Galatians. We're all familiar with it, right? We're not just given rules. Paul gives us something a bit more powerful. He shows that the result of the Spirit-led life. So if somebody can read Galatians 5, 22 to 23.
But the Holy Spirit produced, produced this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things.
Mm-hmm. Please read it again. I get it says fruit, not fruits, I get.
Yes.
Fruit, I get.
Yes, it says fruit in our lives.
It's important to note that because it's a singular thing, it's not plural, right? In other words, it's not a checklist of things we try to achieve. It's a natural outcome of a life that is connected to God. It's one thing, and then it bears so many things. So it's one thing that bears many things. So the example of a tree, right? Doesn't struggle to produce fruit. It produces fruit because it's healthy and rooted our lives. We have to root our lives to begin with and reflect on these qualities when we are walking closely with God. So the most important thing is to root ourselves in these in God, and then these things will come about in our lives. You shouldn't just try and think that, okay, no, because there's this thing, all these things will come. We should focus on the one thing, which is rooting and centering God at the things of everything that we do in our lives. So the question is not how do I force myself to be more patient or more loving. The deeper question that we can ask ourselves is, am I walking with the Spirit? Do you get what I mean? Because when we do, these things come to grow in us naturally. So other people can say like, oh no, I'm not happy, oh I don't have peace, oh I don't have joy and everything like that. But you're looking at all these things, you get me? You're not asking yourself that, hey dude, am I centering myself? Or am I not putting God at the center of everything? Because that's where all these things come. So the questions I want to ask you guys, I mean, we've read the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness and goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But what I want to ask is, and put it to the floor today, is which of the fruits of the Spirit stands out most to you right now, currently in your walk with God, and which one do you find most challenging in your daily life? Thank you.
You're trying to fetch us, huh?
I'm not. I'm not, but yeah, thank you guys. If you can have the discussion around those two questions, and I just really want us to all like introspect and to hear you guys. So I'm the chairman, I'm done talking. Thank you so much. Which of the fruits of the Spirit stands out most to you right now in your lives, and which one do you find most challenging in your daily life? Yeah.
Thank you for taking your time to listen to the sound clip. Feel free to comment in the comment section and meet us in person if and when you can. May God bless you.